Hi guys, this is Elvis from Forest Fundamentals. This is a quick how-to video on our new oil inserts intended for use with the UCO Original Lanterns. They're pretty simple to use, but here's a few tips and tricks which should make things go a little smoother. We designed the oil inserts to work with most types of fuel, including lamp oil, kerosene and paraffin oil. Although we only really recommend using the proper lamp oil, it's a lot less flammable and also comes in different scents. For example, this citronella scent, which is really good for keeping the flies away around camp as well. So to refill the oil inserts, start by removing the top lid and then insert fuel into the chamber. You have to make sure not to overfill the oil insert, so if you keep the fuel line to where the bottom of the thread line is, that will ensure no fuel is forced out of the container once you screw the lid on. After refilling and compressing the oil inserts, there might be a tiny bit of leakage around the joint, but this is just the excess fuel being compressed out. After you give it a wipe, no fuel will leak out of the container. After you fuel the oil chamber with fuel, if you pull the wick out to around 10mm, this should be about right. If you want a smaller flame, you can pull the wick down further into the chamber, which will reduce the flame size. But we found that 10mm is just about right. After lighting the oil inserts as well, there'll be a tiny bit of smoke when it first gets going, but the smoke should clear in a couple of seconds. As the oil insert burns, the wick will start to shorten with time. So if you're planning on burning the oil insert for more than a couple of hours, it's advisable to extinguish the wick midway through and then pull it up slightly. This will just stop the wick from burning all the way to the bottom and then having to pull the wick up later, which can be a bit more tricky. So to replace the wick, start by removing the top screw. If you've still got a little bit of wick left, you can grip onto the wick and use that to unscrew. After it's unscrewed, you can just pull the old wick out and slide off the top screw. On a quick side note, if you haven't got any wick to grab onto to remove the silver top screw, what you can do is remove the lid and then with your thumb and index finger grip it from underneath and on the top, and then rotate the lid counterclockwise like this, and eventually you should be able to grip onto the top and unscrew it as normal. So to insert the wick into the top screw, start by burning the end. This just ensures that there's no fraying. It makes it a little bit easier to screw on. This is quite a tight fit just to prevent any leaks. So if you just apply a little bit of pressure and a few screws, eventually the wick will pop through. After it's popped through, if you just pull it out to about 10mm. If you want the flame bigger, you can increase the wick that's poking out the top, or if you want the flame smaller, just put it through a tiny bit. After you've threaded the top screw onto the wick, if you just insert it into the oil chamber. After the new wick's inserted, you need to leave it about 5 to 10 minutes just to allow all the oil to soak up into the wick, and then it's ready to go.